I have yet to give him a name. I don't know if he had a name when I was a kid. I have to ask my mom about that. He does not have a name on his tag, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he has a name. So I'm going to ask my family if I did give him a name. So what we are doing for today is keeping our furry friends safe with masks. And actually I cannot take credit for this genius idea. Your dearest friend Kingsley, she said, I was making masks for my stuffed animals, and I think I was just reading, which was it? Oh, Much Ado About Nothing. I was reading Much Ado About Nothing, and I believe they were talking, I think that's which one it was. Anyway, they were talking about masks that people would wear to a ball. So like those traditional kind of masks that like come around here, right? And you hold up when you go to a dance, right? And then people can't see who you are. So when she said mask, that's what I had in my brain, not even remembering that really what she was talking about are these other masks that we have to wear when we go out. So she made a mask. See, like, here's my mask for when I go out, right? We gotta wear these. Not so fun, but helps keep other people safe, so it is important. But what Kingsley was saying was that she made a mask for her animal, and yes, this kind of mask. So my little guy on his big floppy ears could wear this mask. So actually this one would really work if I put this through his ears. But I'm going to show you guys with the materials that came in your work packets how to actually make a mask for your stuffed animals. So first thing you're going to see is you got a whole bunch of pieces of fabric. I only have this plaid color at my house because I left the other ones at school, but you should have a choice about which color you are going to use for your mask. Then you've also got some yarn. You have way more than enough as far as what you would need to do this. So what I want you to do with your yarn is take it and actually sort of measure your stuffed animal's face. Now the masks, it's important that you cover your nose and your mouth. So on your animal, if possible, and I really don't, it's not really possible because his mouth is way down here and his nose is way up here, so it's not really going to cover his mouth, so I'll just make mine so it covers his nose, I think. But me, and I'm just doing this, he's the only stuffed animal I have at my house. If I had a different one. So find a stuffed animal who would be appropriate to use this mask for. For him, I think I'm going to cover his nose. So. And then I'm going to measure around his head to sort of be sure that I'm getting an accurate distance. So you want to give yourself enough. So you want to give yourself a little bigger than what it would actually be, because if it's too tight, it's going to be too hard to tie the knots. So like that, that would be too tight. So I'm going to give it a little extra. So like, that's a lot extra. Maybe about here. Okay. And so this is about what I have for my string. Then to connect, and there are different ways you could do this. If you were a skilled sewer and you wanted to actually fold your end and sort of just sew a simple stitch here, you could actually sew the yarn into it. Actually, you might not even need to sew. Here's another way to do this. Okay, 2 ways to do this. So I'll show you one way first and then we'll do the other way. So here's one way. You fold it like so, and then you can do that thing where you sort of cut a circle and can put yarn through that little circle you cut. So by folding it, and it does not really have to be a circle, it just kind of has to be an opening. This is reminding me, and you have to have good scissors, this is reminding me of the nature journal assignment. So you kind of want to cut, and if the cut part is tricky, you can ask a grown-up to help you. There we go. So I've got a hole now there, and you want to do it pretty close to the edge, right? So that's kind of a big hole. I didn't really mean to make it so big, but luckily you have different fabric. So if you mess up, just try on a new one. And then there we go. I think I might have made this hole a little smaller. So now, and it's not perfect and it doesn't have to be, right? The point is not to look fashionable. The point is to keep people safe, right? So you've got your 2 holes. Then I am going to, and it doesn't look like there's a distinct front or back, so then what I'm going to do is take it and put it through the hole and tie. And I'm going to fit it on his face and bring it around. And tie again. Now that would make it an exact fit, but here might be a better way. So I'm going to do this. Actually, yeah, this would be okay. I'll bring it probably below his ears. So depending on what your stuffed animal looks like, you guys can kind of do some trial and error to figure out what works best for your stuffed animal. But I'm actually holding it up to his face, and then pulling it through the hole. There you go. Once I've got like an even measure here, I will tie my regular knot, so just through the hole. And then tie. And then, see, I did give myself some extra. I could trim off this extra. And my dog now has a mask to help keep other people safe. So when he sneezes, achoo, he doesn't get his particles everywhere. So there we go. Okay, that's one way. The other way, which I just realized as I was making this video, is to do it like this. So I'm going to take off your mask, sir. You guys can decide what I should name him if he doesn't in fact have a name. And I actually didn't tie these in a good enough knot, so I'm going to untie them and show you a different way. So that's one way. The other way to do this would be, I think, even easier, but it really kind of only works, I think, if your animal has ears. So it was sort of, I got the idea when I pulled out my mask, because this one, you know, it just sort of goes behind your ears and that's how it attaches, which would work perfectly with him, but not with every critter. So here's another way if your animal in fact does have ears. You could take your little piece, and really we're gonna essentially try to make it look like this. So you take your little piece and fold the piece of yarn into the corners, okay? So all I did was kind of roll this yarn in. Then I'm gonna tie that in a knot. And this knot you're gonna wanna make stay. So I know, sorry, I wasn't holding it close to the camera, but you'll tie like the first step of tying a shoe, right? And then your second step, right? Which is looping it through again and pulling, right? And then I've got one side of the mask, and I don't need all this extra, so I am gonna cut it. Then with this extra, I'm gonna do the same thing. So you wanna set your little guy down, set your mask down, the cloth part. Then you roll the end. So you're kind of rolling up the yarn in there. And there's wire in here, so be careful, it's a little pokey. You're rolling up the end, right? And then again, you're gonna do that thing where you tie your loops. And I got a lot of extra string here, which is fine. I'll cut these schnibbles. Generally, I wouldn't waste yarn like this, but that's not a ton. So I've got these extra schnibbles I tied. Now, this is a tiny mask because I sort of wasted space when I rolled, so I would use one of your longer ones. If you want more fabric in your next week's packet, we can also definitely give you more fabric if you have a favorite color and you want more. Or if your piece wasn't long enough, But then this would actually get held by his ears, which I wasn't doing very good measuring because it doesn't quite fit. I just gotta stretch him a little bit. And really now it's only covering his nose, so I can make another one for his mouth, or if you have a bigger piece of fabric or felt that you want to use at home, but there you go. So now he's got this. I could make him one for here too if I wanted to, but there you have it. 2 ways to do a mask for your stuffed animal. Alright, so stay safe with your animals and yourselves, and find a spot for music. And you can see that I've got this pile of junk here, so I'm pulling out my clipboard, which is where I keep my work for the day, right? It's just gotten, as you know, the corner of the desk gets messy after the day. So here's where I keep the things I'm working on. This week's feature composer is Joseph Haydn. The featured composition is the 4th movement from Symphony No. 87. Haydn's music was popular because he knew how to compose his music his audience would understand. Haydn composed a theme for the last movement of Symphony No. 87 that would be easy to recognize, even if he made it sound a little different. Haydn created a cheerful rhythm and melody that was easy to remember. He chose the strings to play the main idea first. Then he gave the melody to the winds. Much later on, he used the strings again, but changed his melody to a minor key. Haydn was having fun with his musical ideas. We have fun listening because we can follow along. Alright, and I am going to show you guys his angry face. So he's angry because he wants to go to school and see you. So there's his grouchy eyebrows. And he's showing his teeth. Alright, today is going to be a good day. I can and I will. Bye for now.